to you, Lord. You covered me, and you will cover me. You've always been always slaying my Goliath. Who am I that you're mindful of me? None like you, no, not one. With you, Lord, endless possibilities. You are God, there is none like you. How can I repay you for all you've done? You are God, you remain the same, my giant killer. Giant killer. Giant killer. Praise healer. My destiny changer. Destiny changer. Hey, that's who you are. That's who you are. Lord, you cover me. You cover me. Jesus, you've always been there, slaying my Goliath. Nothing's hard for you. Nothing's big for you, Yahweh. Yahweh. Nothing's hard for you. Nothing's hard. Yeah. There is nothing bigger. Nothing's big for Yahweh. 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 Nothing is too hard for you, God. Nothing's hard for. Nothing is too big. Nothing's big for. Yahweh, I call you. Nothing's hard for. Nothing is too big, Lord. Nothing's big for. Giant killer. That's who you are. Praise healer. Destiny changer. My destiny changer. That's who you are. That's who you are. In times of fear. You cover me. Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. You've always been there, slaying my Goliath.
And welcome once again, my brothers and sisters, to another Living Hope Today study. Today we find ourselves in 2 Chronicles chapter 24. This chapter demonstrates a principle that, it's necessary that you and I persevere. We can't just say, I prayed the prayer to Jesus when I was young and then I walked away, and expect God not to react to that. We're going to see that demonstrated in the life of the king named King Joash. You remember, he was saved from Athaliah's wrath as she tried to kill the whole line of Judah, the royal line. Well, Joash was saved by a young lady that took him out and hid him. He spent 6 years in the temple hiding, and we pick it up there this morning as we watch what God's going to do in his life. Watch this. Joash was 7 years old when he became king. Doesn't that tell you something? He is the rightful bloodline heir to the throne of David. He's the only one left. And therefore, as soon as he's basically old enough to walk around and know that he's alive, they make him the king. He became king when he was 7. He reigned in Jerusalem for 40 years. So we have a long reign by King Joash. His mother's name was Zibiah. She was from Beersheba. And here's the line that you love to see as the king gets announced. Joash did what was right in the eyes of the Lord. But there's a little caveat here. Do you see it? All the years of Joiada, the priest. You remember Joiada was the one that formed the guard and did all the things that required the security to keep Joash from being discovered and to keep him safe. Joiada is a good priest who loves the Lord, and he is going to oversee this young king. Watch this. Joiada chose 2 wives for him, and he had sons and daughters. All right, so Joiada is kind of calling the shots to help King Joash move forward. Well, sometime later, Joash decided to restore the temple of the Lord. Obviously, he's gained a few years. Now he has a project he wants to accomplish. So what's he going to do? Well, just notice, though, in the text, Joiada is the one that chooses, not Joash, okay? Verse 5, he called together the priests and Levites and said to them, "Go to the towns of Judah and collect the money due annually from all Israel to repair the temple of your God. Do it now." But the Levites did not act at once. Maybe they didn't think he was serious. Maybe they didn't recognize his authority as king. We're not really sure. But they don't do anything after the king issues the order. Therefore the king summoned Joiada the chief priest and said to him, so now watch, the tables have turned. The king is now going to command the priest Joiada, who's been helping him. All right. Therefore the king summoned Joiada the chief priest and said to him, "Why haven't you required the Levites to bring in from Judah and Jerusalem the tax imposed by Moses, the servant of the Lord, and by the assembly of Israel for the tent of the testimony?" There was tax in ancient Israel. The people paid it. But we're not going to go down that bunny trail to talk about how that all came about. Just know that Joiada is recognizing the fact that this tax goes all the way back to the days of Moses. Now, the sons, here you go, watch this. The sons of that wicked woman Athaliah had broken into the temple of God and used even its sacred objects for the Baals. So in other words, the temple's a wreck. Its items have been stolen. They're being used for pagan worship. And Joash says, look, we're going to fix it. That's great, isn't it? At the king's command, a chest was made and placed outside at the gate of the temple of the Lord. A proclamation was then issued in Judah and Jerusalem that they should bring to the Lord the tax that Moses, the servant of God, had required of Israel in the desert. So we're not doing anything new. We're just reinstituting what has already been practiced in the history of Judaism. There's the chest, put something in it. Well, all the officials and all the people brought their contributions gladly, dropping them into the chest until it was full. And whenever the chest was brought in by the Levites to the king's officials, and they saw that there was a large amount of money, the royal secretary and the officer of the chief priest would come and empty the chest and carry it back to its place. They did this regularly, and they collected a great amount of money. So the people do have willingness to give. They do support the idea of the temple renovation. They want it back in service. The king and Joiada, so now we have the king and the priest, they gave it to the men who carried out the work required for the temple of the Lord. So this project gets going based on what was funded by the people. They hired masons and carpenters to restore the Lord's temple, and also workers in iron and bronze to repair the temple. The men in charge of the work were diligent, and the repairs progressed under them. They rebuilt the temple of God according to its original design and reinforced it. So all the damage that's been done by the pagan kings and those that hate God who have ruled over Judah is now being reversed at the hands of Joash as the people give the money and the tradesmen do the work, and things are progressing nicely in verse 13. When they had finished, they brought the rest of the money to the king and Joiada, and with it were made articles for the Lord's temple. Oh, this is great. More restoration. Articles for the service and for the burnt offerings, and also dishes and other objects of gold and silver. As long as Joiada lived, burnt offerings were presented continually in the temple. So the priesthood is now restored to function as God designed it to function, and the sacrifices are being made in the temple. Things seem to be going pretty well. Now Joiada was old and full of years. Oh, and he died at the age of 130. Okay, so now we take the restraining, the guiding influence of the priest away from Joash. But you would assume that Joash is now old enough and experienced enough that that wouldn't really alter the course of his life. But watch what happens. Okay, Joiada in verse 16 was buried with the kings in the city of David because of the good he had done in Israel for God in his temple. In other words, to be buried with the kings as a priest is a great honor. The people recognized that Joiada was firmly established as God's priest and followed God with all his heart. 17, after the death of Joiada, the officials of Judah came and paid homage to the king, and he listened to them. Uh-oh. Here come some people paying homage to the king. Well, we're not sure exactly what that's about, except that they're praising him and extolling him as a great king. Perhaps there are gifts involved as well. Well, Joiada begins to be distracted by this event. They abandoned the temple of the Lord. What? They abandoned the temple of the Lord, the God of their fathers. They worshipped Asherah poles and idols. Joash, what are you doing? Are you serious? You lived because God saved you from Athaliah. You lived and did well because Joiada the priest was guiding and helping you make godly decisions, and now you've done all this good to renovate the temple, and now you're going to allow all this to fall into pagan idolatry? Look at the end of 18. Because of their guilt, God's anger came upon Judah and Jerusalem. Oh, hey, Joash, just because you did the right things in your youth, if you're going to turn away from me, my judgment's going to come. That's how God works. Although the Lord sent prophets, well, here's something very interesting. The Lord calls the community of Judah, specifically King Joash, come back. Let me send you some prophets. He sent prophets to the people to bring them back to him. And though they testified against them, hey, you guys need to turn. You're going the wrong way. God's judgment is going to fall on you if you don't pay attention. Look at the end of 19. They would not listen. Oh, we're doing what we want to do. This feels right. We're happy. God's not going to care if we go this direction. Oh, that's such a lie of the devil. You know that God is some big teddy bear in the sky who doesn't care how we live. God cares how we live. Then the Spirit of God came upon Zechariah. Notice in the Old Testament, the Spirit of God comes upon people. In the New Testament, the Spirit of God indwells the believer. But in the Old Testament, before the cross, the Spirit of God comes upon people and then is removed. It's a temporary event. Then the Spirit of God came upon Zechariah, son of Joiada, the priest. Okay, so God sends Joiada's son, Zechariah, into the situation. He stood before the people and said, "This is what God says." Here's a question. Why do you disobey the Lord's commands? Look, he's told us what he wants us to do. Why won't we do it? You will not prosper. Why not? Because you have forsaken the Lord. He has forsaken you. You want to seek me, you're going to find me. You want to turn away from me, I'm going to turn away from you. God's not going to coexist with evil. All right. Well, how is Zechariah's message received? Look at 21. But they plotted against him. And by order of the king, that's Joash, by order of the king, they did what? They stoned him to death in the courtyard of the Lord's temple. Oh man, we're going to defile the temple. We're going to murder the prophet. I mean, we have gone off the rails. It's just a tragic turn. How could somebody be so influenced in this direction after following God? King Joash did not remember the kindness Zechariah's father Joiada had shown him, but he killed his son, who said as he lay dying. So Zechariah's getting ready to pass away, and he says, "May the Lord see this and call you to account." You think you're going to get away with this? Don't you think God really exists? You don't think he's going to respond to what you're doing? Notice that God allows this evil to happen. But watch as God responds. At the turn of the year, the army of Aram marched against Joash. Okay. So peace at home, forget about it. Now that you've forsaken the Lord, the armies of the enemy are invited to attack. It invaded Judah and Jerusalem and killed all the leaders of the people. In other words, God allowed the enemies of Israel to wipe out the leaders of Judah. Why? Because of the evil that they're committing. They sent all the plunder to their king in Damascus. So now they've not only wiped out the leadership, they've raided all the bounty, the assets that Israel or Judah had. Although the Aramean army had come with only a few men, look at this line. The Lord delivered them into their hands, a much larger army, because Judah had forsaken the Lord, the God of their fathers. Judgment was executed on Joash. The Lord was the one behind the defeat as an act of judgment against Joash and against the people. You don't think God responds to evil? Look at that. When the Arameans withdrew, they left Joash severely wounded. His officials conspired against him for murdering the son of Joiada, the priest, and they killed him in his bed. So Joash meets a terrible end as well, as he's murdered while laying in his bed. So he died and was buried in the city of David, but not in the tombs of the kings. Remember when we saw Joiada the priest was buried in the tombs of the kings? Joash, because of his terrible disobedience, even though he had such a good start, he has such a terrible end that he is not honored. He is not honored in his death. Those who conspired against him were Zabad, son of Shimeath, an Ammonite woman, and Jehoshabad, son of Shrimrith, a Moabite woman. So these two guys conspire against Joash. The account of his sons, the many prophecies about him, and the record of the restoration of the temple of God are written in the annotations in the book of the kings, and Amaziah, his son, succeeded him as king. Before we go today, we're going to run to the New Testament just for a moment before we move to chapter 25 and learn about Amaziah. Listen to this. This is Jesus speaking. He says in Matthew 10:22, all men will hate you because of me. That's a promise you don't really find in all the promise books. But if you stand up for God, they can't persecute Jesus anymore. He died on a cross. They already killed him. So those who follow Jesus will now receive the wrath of the unbelievers. All men will hate you because of me. But then he says what? But he who stands firm to the end will be saved. Stand firm. That's the lesson in 2 Chronicles that we saw today. That's the lesson for us to hold on to as we live our lives, that it's not enough to have a good day and walk away. Joash had a bunch of good days and then he walked away. He received God's wrath. You and I were called to persevere. I trust you will stand firm today, church. God bless you. Serve him well.
Who is it who for sinners shed his blood, and now for cleansing all can plunge beneath that flood? It's Jesus. But do you know who he is? He's the image of the invisible God, and he's the brightness of his glory, the first, the last, the future, the past. He is God.